In this video, we're going to continue our discussion of how engineers determine cost sharing for a new drainage project. We've covered a lot of ground so far, so if you've missed our previous conversation, be sure to watch the videos called Assessment Principles and Assessment Tools before this video to have a full understanding of the process. After we lay the groundwork by determining the total cost of our drainage project, we break down the project into smaller sections called intervals. These intervals represent a distinct segment of the project. They could be separated by geographical boundaries, topography, or even differences in land usage. The size of these segments and the cost of the project within that segment will vary. This could be because of the natural changes of land or the difference in length of drain in that segment, the complexity of the construction, and many other factors. If roads are in the construction area, the increased costs of working through those roads will make the cost of the interval bigger. But don't worry, the road's special assessment is assigned directly to that road, so landowners don't share that part. With special assessments accounted for, let's see how the rest of the costs are allocated. They're split between benefit and outlet liability. If a section of land will benefit from the drainage works, the landowner will chip in more than those whose lands won't directly benefit. Within that group, those who benefit more will also pitch in a greater amount than those who don't benefit as greatly. Figuring out who will benefit and by how much is a huge challenge. At Headway, we use an assessment method that is rooted in science and technology to ensure fairness and accuracy every step of the way. It isn't a gut feel calculation. We begin by analyzing the watershed for land use. Using specialized technology to read high-resolution aerial photography, this allows us to segment the watershed into pervious and impervious areas, with varying degrees of imperviousness. But we don't stop there. We also calculate how much the watershed area has been developed relative to its natural state. This meticulous analysis helps us allocate costs, considering both watershed development and real benefits. While other engineers may rely solely on their best judgment to split costs, we take a more objective approach. We prioritize transparency and consistency, ensuring fairness not only from landowner to landowner, but also from project to project. Once we determine which landowners will benefit from the new drainage system, we need to determine the distribution of the benefit assessment. This means we need to figure out not only whether a property will benefit, but by how much. Benefits might include increased crop production, enhanced water control measures, new or deeper outlets, and more. We then distribute the benefit portion of the cost based on these tangible benefits, ensuring a transparent and equitable process for all involved. Now, let's talk about distributing outlet liability. This part of the process ensures landowners in the liable watershed, including those folks we just talked about, whose properties are assessed to also directly benefit, share the remaining costs. We base this on area, land use, and point of entry. At Headway, we've developed specialized software to analyze the watershed in incredible detail. We segment the land into different uses, like woodlots, agriculture, roads, and buildings, and then slice these into individual properties. We even look at elevation data and catchment areas to see exactly where water enters the drainage system. Other engineers might generalize, meaning some farmland with buildings or yards could end up paying the same per acre as properties or farms without any buildings or yards, which wouldn't be fair, right? Headway doesn't cut corners. Our detailed approach ensures that each piece of land is assessed accurately, making our method far more fair and precise. This level of detail sets the bar high, making sure everyone pays their fair share based on actual land use and impact. We also include a fairness test at the end of our method, which allows us to step back from the technical analysis and use our best judgment and experience to make an adjustment. Sometimes, the purely technical analysis doesn't take everything into account. The fairness test gives the engineer some room to take into consideration something more subjective. The results of all this data are laid out clearly and transparently in the drainage report assessment tables for anyone to review. Our approach uses the latest technology available to execute the widely accepted principles of assessment developed by Herb Todgham and his team in order to exceed industry standards, and we're proud to lead the charge. If you'd like to learn more about the Drainage Act, be sure to check out the other videos in this series.